Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything movies, TV, comics, and entertainment. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go. Welcome to an all-new edition of the ODPH podcast. What is happening, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us this week. My name is Ken M. Joining me in studio, as always, you know him. He's the co-host. He's the man of 1,004 aliases. His name is Padawan J.
Coming in with better storylines than those AI fruit videos.
That is a true story.
Holy cow.
That is a whole different ball of wax that we will not get into on the show, but we have a whole bunch of parlay topics to get into, so we'll just go right into it. If you want to connect with us after the show, Pat, where do you go?
ODPHpodcast.com.
Right on. Check out the TeePublic store link. Check out the social media accounts. We're there, but we're also, more importantly, on your new home for comics pop culture. That is FanlightZone.com. We're new comic book day. We're dropping this week 40 reviews between the YouTube channel and the website.
Sheesh.
Talking all things Marvel, DC, and much, much more. So yeah, and check this out. Yeah, make sure you do. Make sure you're following there on the socials. But if you connect with us on ODPH's socials, we're still interacting with everybody there. So fear not. We're at multiple places at once. We just, thank God for strong coffee and Ghost energy drink.
This is very true. New Ghost 7-Up energy. This is not a paid endorsement, but I cannot recommend that enough.
But if they'd like to pay us,
hey, we'll listen.
ODPHpodcast.com. But also, while you're there, check out the classified section, which has friends of the show, such as 3FM Podcast, Dragon Master Games, and many other links. Also, the directory. Pat, how many pariahs are we on?
942,218.
And your source?
Trust me, bro.
So wherever you listen to the ODPH on, first and foremost, thank you for checking us out. It means the absolute world to us. Make sure to leave us a review on your favorite podcatcher. I am told it helps the algorithm. Allegedly, but who might argue? Last but certainly not least, we have a fantastic music section with such musicians as Brian Wolf and the Howlers, Second Suitor, Tom Show, Luke Floodlands, and Shout at the Robots. Still, I'm trying to get a hold of that other band to add, so you can kind of tell if you're following us on Instagram stories, and it is literally just a phone call to make happen, but everybody's been really busy right now. But if you're checking out the Instagram stories right now, you'll know who it is. So we'll make that happen very soon. So make sure you're downloading all the music that you're seeing there, because those musicians give it to us without any hassle. We're allowed to play it out here on the show all the time. So it absolutely helps make the show that much greater of an experience for you, the listener. And if there's anything else I might have forgotten, because, hey, we talk a lot here at the ODPH, ODPHpodcast.com. And remember, on social media, if you're still using hashtags, why not use the hashtag ODPHpod? So kicking off this edition of the show, there was a program that came out, a nice compliment to the MCU, and especially what has been going on in the world of Daredevil Born Again, because a character that has appeared on that show and in his own show on Netflix has reappeared on Disney Plus in a Marvel Comics television special presentation. So we have been very excited to hear about this because it was teased. We had no idea what to expect. There had been very, very little given out as far as previews. But we knew when John Bernthal was reprising the role as Frank Castle, we knew it was going to be something special. Pat, what are we talking about this week?
We were talking about The Punisher One Last Kill.
Yeah, so this is, as alluded to, the Marvel special presentation that they've done very sporadically, if I may say. Because we had The Werewolf by Night, which was excellent.
Oh, fantastic.
And really haven't had anything after that until now.
Yeah.
So I know with a lot of question marks concerning other characters in the MCU, we're going to see more of this. And I honestly think, this is not a spoiler by any means, Punisher One Last Kill is the benchmark to see where the audience is. Now, some might say, well, he was on the Netflix show, and that's a whole different ball of wax. Because now is a different era, whether fans want to admit it or not. Because once everything shifted from the multiverse to Doomsday and the Doom era, if you will, a lot of projects that were going to happen, we have not heard a lot about. And there's a lot of speculation. So I think where we're going with this is testing the water and seeing how this kind of character is going to be on their full-fledged show under Disney. It's one thing to cameo, as he did with Daredevil Born Again. But for a full-fledged Punisher show on the Disney Plus network, there was a lot of question marks. I think after this, a lot of answers were given.
Yeah.
And I think where we go from here is going to be very telling. without spoiling anything, I'm very curious to see if we're going to hear about the ratings for this in some kind of capacity, because they usually don't link them out too much.
I'll say Disney typically is unless it's like gangbusters, record breaking for them numbers, typically mum's the word.
Right. But there is a tremendous amount of word of mouth for this.
Yeah.
So that being said, we're going to give you our review of the episode. Now, if you're new to the show, once again, thank you for checking us out. We like to give you a spoiler-free statement of what we're talking about, because if you have not seen this yet, we don't want to ruin anything for you. However, we do give you a countdown. At that moment, you have to be like the Clash. Do you stay or do you go? If you stay, you're going to hear spoilers. You're going to hear theories. You're going to hear comic references. You're going to hear a lot that could ruin the experience for you. If you're willing to stay through it, you're going to get a lot of information. If you haven't seen it yet, pause the episode, because Pad puts the timestamp in the liner notes. Go watch the episode and jump back in.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
Yes.
So that being said, Pad, give me your spoiler-free statement on The Punisher One Last Kill.
This type of format, I think, works really well for certain characters, and I would love to see more of in the future. I don't think you got to go crazy with it and start giving a whole slew of characters, but you can pick and choose, because this was the perfect method to do a Frank Castle story. Now, don't get me wrong. I loved, the season he got when it was on Netflix, and I got no issue if they wanted to do, another season of that type of show. I got no issue if they wanted to do a movie with John Bernthal. I love his portrayal of the Punisher, but for what this story was and what we got in this issue, this type of format where it's a one and done. The only thing we knew about this episode going into it was that it took place, obviously, before the events of Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Mm-hmm.
And that it took place before and during the events of Daredevil Born Again Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
You do not need to have seen Daredevil Born Again Season 2 to appreciate and understand what's going on, with this episode. It is a self-contained episode that, as long as you know the bare minimum, who's Frank Castle, what is his backstory, and what are his motivations, you're good. It is a perfectly self-contained issue. I would say, because I wasn't sure how long it was going to be, its runtime is, I think, like 51 minutes.
It's short.
It's perfect runtime. It doesn't overstay its welcome. I didn't reach the end of it going, that was great, but I wish it still went another 5-10 minutes. It reached the end at the perfect time for me, that I enjoyed it. One thing I would say about it, holy shit. Mm-hmm. And another thing I would say about it is, well, that escalated quickly, and it was just stupendous from start to finish.
In dealing with Frank Castle, who is a man on a very dark mission.
And very complicated.
Because he's avenging his family's murder, and has now sworn to take out criminals by extreme measures until the day he passes. It is really a challenge to bring him on screen and really dive into the psyche behind him. And I think with John Bernthal's portrayal of Frank Castle, this was one thing that this episode really did. And you got a real unapologetic look at Frank Castle. That, sure, you might have seen him on the Netflix show, and they did a great job there.
Yep.
And even with his cameo in live action in Daredevil Born Again, they did a solid job for explaining him in the MCU and his interactions with Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
However, this one was Punisher 101. And it really borrowed a lot from the Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon run, which if you haven't checked out and you really want to find a great Punisher series, they really cleaned up a lot of the Punisher mythos when they took over the book in the late or early 2000s. So when this happened, they really got down to the man behind the skull, if you will.
Right.
And I thought this episode was a great portrayal of it. There was a few things, though, that I thought they could have been better with as far as dealing with the threat, so to speak.
Okay.
But it does not take anything away from the show. This is what you want from a live-action Frank Castle. And I think, should they reprise this down the road, and I hope they do, I really think they should borrow a lot of what Ennis wrote and run with it. because then I think you're going to have something really special. Even though Ennis does go to some very extreme moments. If you know his writing, The Boys. Enough said.
Yeah.
So with this being, though, the reintroduction of Frank Castle into the MCU, I thought they did a stupendous job.
Yeah.
I thought Jon Bernthal was amazing, and I think that you really got the real deal Frank Castle.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a lot of spoilers to talk about with this one. So, Pad, in 3, 2, 1, talk to me.
Like I said, I got one little nitpick with this episode, and it's not even anything that was, in the content or of the substance, the meat and potatoes of the episode. It's something technical. I'll get to that in a little bit. And no, I'm not the only person. I've seen a couple people talk about it online. I haven't asked you yet, so we'll see if you feel the same way.
Okay.
But no, I mean, for what took place in the little technical issue I had with it aside, 10 out of 10. I loved everything about this. I love how, vulnerable and kind of exposed, if that's the right word to use, Frank got in this episode. It was also fascinating for me to watch because I was watching this with my wife last night, and she knows who some superheroes are, and she's seen some of the Marvel movies, and she's seen some Batman stuff over the years, but she's not seen everything. And I think the only Netflix series she had seen prior to this was Jessica Jones, just because she found out about it, found out what it was about, and she really likes that type of television. So she had not seen Punisher. So this was her first exposure to the Punisher, and boy, that was a fun experience for me to watch, through her eyes, and having to explain some of this for her. But for what we saw, the action was incredible. The story, it was simple, but listen, it's Frank Castle. You don't need the most convoluted, drawn out story that stretches out over the course of a 22 episode season, that gets into the political drama theater. Like, it works for some stuff. Frank Castle, yeah, you don't really need it. Just give him a gun, point him in a direction, let him go. But I loved everything about it. And you know what? I would like to see more of this format going forward. Do we need to do another Frank Castle one? No. If you do, great. If not, okay. I'm fine with that either way. But for me, I think if you were to take some other characters, from the movies or from the television shows, and you want to do a one-off episode with them, a self-contained story, by all means, I would love to see more of this.
With this show, there was some expectations going on. Mm-hmm. Because everybody knows how passionate Jon Bernthal has been about this character since day one.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that, he got to contribute a lot to the writing of this.
Has a writing credit on the episode.
Exactly. I think really gave some confidence to what we're going to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knows about diving into the soul of the character. And it is very complex. It is mature audiences completely.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're dealing with somebody that really has got a lot of psychological damage. I mean, would you say?
Oh, yeah, I would say so. I mean, especially when you start digging into, his past and what has made him into the being he is, it's complicated.
Yeah.
It's heavy. It's not, oh, shucks, your parents were involved in an accident and you were left as an orphan and now you got to deal with the ramifications of that. Like, yeah, there's trauma. Yeah, there's sadness, but there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, I mean, and they really tackled it very tastefully.
Absolutely.
They did not shy away from it, and that is another layer of Frank Castle that I don't think we have seen too much of per se, as far as previously on the Disney side of things.
Right.
The Netflix show did dabble with that a little bit.
Well, and that was one thing that I know when the rights for the various Defenders Netflix series made their way back to Disney, that I know Jon Bernthal said very early on, because every one of those main actors and actresses got asked, would you like to reprise your role under the Marvel MCU banner? And they all were like, oh, yeah, we'd love to, blah, 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 whatever. But Bernthal was like, yeah, I'd do it, but it has to be the right story. It has to be Punisher. You can't water it down.
Mm-hmm. Oh, completely.
And when he signed on to do Daredevil Born Again, we're like, okay, we know they're not messing around.
No, that was the whole thing. Like, I think that he knew with the direction they were going with, because let's face it, not everything is the Avengers in the MCU, nor should it be. There is a lot of very difficult heroes and characters in general to see and to get those portrayals out. I mean, it's a testament to Bernthal's work.
Yes.
Because he really addressed this point of Frank And it really adds another layer to his character because you just think of him as an unstoppable killing machine.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much more to Frank than that. And I thought they really addressed it head on, even right at the beginning.
Yes.
Because he's now off the grid, if you will, because he's running away from whatever, the Wilson Fisk task force.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I took it as.
That's what I figured.
They didn't say. But they also dealt with a character from that Garth Ennis, Steve Dillon run.
Mm-hmm.
And they did with Manucci.
Oh,
and the Nucci crime family.
Yep.
So they did a brief explanation that the part of New York that he's living in was controlled by the Nucci crime family.
Mm-hmm.
And due to his actions, it has now become this lawless area of New York.
Lawless is putting it mildly.
Right.
Like, there's police there, but like at one point there's a police officer driving down the and it's just like constant rioting and chaos. And like there's one point in this episode where there's a police officer, one of the NYPD's police vans going down the street, like going after somebody, and then it gets off screen to the right and then immediately starts reversing the other way. And while Frank's walking down the street, the camera keeps following him, and then you see another NYPD car that's on fire. That it's just insane.
Right. But they open the show with him working out in his apartment.
Yep.
And you can see that he is dealing with his trauma in very destructive ways.
I thought he was torturing somebody for some information at the start of this, and I'm like, God damn it, Frank! And then I realized he's working out. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, because he goes from working out, and they play the song Danzig's Mother, or Danzig is the artist, Mother is the song, and you see it just slow down like that, and then you start seeing him drinking heavily and taking prescription drugs, and he's doing a lot of things to medicate himself.
Yep.
And when this is going on, you are seeing him relive some of his worst nightmares and seeing his family that was killed in front of him now back, and they're talking to him, and it's almost like a taunting, if you will, in certain aspects. It's a very intense opening.
Yeah.
And to see this play, like it, and it's also pushing him in very difficult areas too.
Oh, yeah.
So, like I say, Bernthal addressed, how he was acting about this, it was phenomenal.
Tremendous.
Yeah, because, to deal with the trauma that Frank has gone through, and even to dabble into his time in the military and dealing with his friend Curtis Hoyle, to see that even pop up too, and he's having the ghosts from the past haunt him, and how that's affecting him mentally. It's very direct. It's very blunt.
Yeah.
But it really shows what Frank goes through. And I thought okay, this is a very unique way to open the show.
And it's a great way to show people that might not be super familiar with the character other than, hey, what he looks like, what he's about, and, the symbol that there's more to this guy than, he likes to go around killing, criminals and shooting them.
Yeah. It is.
There's a reason.
Yeah, there's a method to his madness, if you will.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, that part of Little Sicily in New York is on fire.
Oh, my Lord.
We see a homeless Marine get jumped by a street gang, and one of them steals his hat and also takes his dog and throws it in front of a
moving vehicle.
A moving truck.
Truck, bus, something.
Yeah, which definitely raised some eyebrows.
Yeah.
Which... they wanted to show how unforgiving this portion of New York is.
Well, and just how much of a vacuum it is.
Yeah.
The police are there, but they can't do anything.
No, they've lost control of this portion of the city.
Yeah.
So when you see Frank going into a local bakery,
yeah,
this is where things get brought into perspective, I think is the nicest way to put it. Because as he's walking in, he sees the family is at work. There's somebody that is very challenged in being in there, and the owner is trying to get him out.
Something's going on. We don't know what the origin of this is.
Right. So you're seeing him trying to get out of there, trying to get some kind of semblance going on.
There's a child there. She's, what would you say, 6 or 7 years old?
Yeah, I think so.
Not old. Not 10 years old, but not quite toddler.
Yeah, because it's Dre's shop, who's played by Andre Royo.
Yep.
who's, like I say, he's trying to keep order, like I said, some kind of, semblance in there of just like normalcy.
Like he sees the person in there. He's like, hey, don't worry. I'll take care of you. Just give me a second. It continues to escalate. And at that point, he's like, all right, listen, you got to go.
Yeah. And all the while, his daughter, Charlie, who's played by Mila James, is watching this happen.
Mm-hmm.
And she is trying to be like very optimistic about this and even waves at Frank. And Frank doesn't.
She knows who he is.
Well, yeah, because they are running a commercial, or not a commercial, a news special on the TV.
Yeah, because they're talking about the Ganucci, crime family, being basically decimated, and Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, is the one behind it. And the news reporter even says, like, Castle's current whereabouts are unknown, and they show a photo of Castle. Well, the little girl's watching the news camera. Or the television, sees the news report, looks down, sees him there, and instantly puts two and two together.
Right. But the one thing, too, at this point that we did not mention, Frank has a full beard.
Yes, he does.
So he does not stand out as Frank Castle.
Yeah.
Even though that news footage, is clear as day.
Oh, yeah.
That it's Frank, and how they even tie it into the Nucci crime family. And we do get a quick glimpse of Ma Nucci. Played by the one and only Judith Light.
Did not expect that one.
Did not either, but very, very excited to see her character. Like I say, if you know that Welcome Back Frank's story, like Steve Dillon and Garth Ennis did an amazing job with her, and just how absolutely nuts she is.
Yeah.
To put it mildly.
Uh-huh.
So we do see this is happening. He goes back to his apartment, but he's also seeing that the city is just now in full chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And this is now just evolving into more just escalating violence.
And it's also, he doesn't really want to do anything about it.
Right. No, because he winds up taking off and going to visit his wife's grave.
Mm-hmm.
And even while he's there, or his family's grave.
His family's graves.
Yeah, he's thinking about killing himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he starts talking to his daughter and, having, just that emotional connection with trying to be with her.
Yeah, like I say, it is a very powerful scene.
By the way, fun casting. Do you know who played his daughter?
No, I'm not looking at the screen right now.
Bernthal's actual daughter.
Oh, wow.
Addie Bernthal was played Lisa.
Okay.
AKA his daughter. From what I was reading today, took a little bit of convincing John to let it happen, but he agreed to it, and the daughter agreed to it.
Well, he's such a method actor.
Yeah,
to get in that role.
Yeah.
I mean,
but go online. That is Addie Bernthal. That is John Bernthal's actual daughter playing Frank Castle's daughter in this episode.
Kudos to him, man. That has to be difficult. Just because you get in that mind frame of Frank, and then wow, it is very intense. But he winds up not, thankfully, doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Snaps back though to the apartment.
Yep.
And then is starting to walk through that area.
It's like a common open area at the entrance of the apartment.
Yep, and he is confronted at this moment by Ma Nucci herself.
I got to give them credit for the way this was presented, because I was not familiar with the source material and who was who and what was what. So I went into this completely blind, other than, the basics of Frank Castle and who he is. I loved the way they played this out, where she's like, "Oh, we got a job for you. Need something to do for it. Need you to do something," and then starts explaining why she needs the job done. And then, what would you say, about halfway through her telling the story, you realize, oh my God, Frank was the one who did this.
Yep.
And the way they even shot it presents that, because it's going through all the family members who got killed, and how each one of them was done, and how visceral it was, and this and that. And you get to the last son who's riding in the car with his mother, Ma Nucci. And the way they just show the two of them in the car, and then the camera cuts and you see the guy standing outside and you see the logo on the chest. And that's when I went, oh, shit, it's him.
Oh, yeah. No, the minute she came out and she was carried into her wheelchair, you knew she was coming for some vengeance.
Oh, yeah.
And even though she was trying to plead her case, I like, kudos to Light for trying to overham this up, I will say.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because Ma Nucci is crazy. Like I say, the comics, you if you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But to see like how she's trying to spin this as she's the victim in all this, and and trying to spin her vision of events, it's wild. But like Pat alluded to, you go through the killings of her husband and three sons.
Yep.
And it is very, very violent.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it reminds me of the video game way back when that they did.
Yeah.
The more recent one, which Garth Ennis was an influence on that game. Just saying. So she winds up just saying, yeah, you have a bounty on your head.
Which is how she tracked him down.
Yeah. And now we're just going to, unleash everything on you that we have because people want to make the money. So he winds up just brushing it off in complete Frank manner.
Yeah.
And then goes into his apartment. And now he has another vision of a familiar face.
Yeah, didn't see this one coming.
Made
sense.
It made sense, but I agree with you. I did not see this coming per se, but then again, how things have been teased in Daredevil, I should have.
Yeah.
Who do we see?
Karen Page.
Yes, so Deborah Ann Wall reprises her role as Karen Page as a Vision, and she is like really...
She's laying it into him.
She's tearing into Frank, for his mistakes, and then is like trying to, break him down to build him back up. Is kind of the easiest way to do it.
Tough love.
Yeah, and like I say, they tease and embrace, and so I think that was more of just the fan casting that they all think that there is a love triangle going to be happening. Which
it's like they do with Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I was not mad about this. I'm just like, okay, I see what they're doing.
It made sense in the story.
It made sense because a lot of fans want to see Frank and Karen get together, and granted, a lot of moving parts have to happen for that, and also since
pigs have to fly.
Well, I would say this: if you know how Karen's story goes in the comics, I don't know if that's going to happen next season. Just saying. Yep.
Stay tuned.
At ODPH Podcast. So that being said, though, he's in his apartment, and then he starts hearing all hell break loose.
And this is, you got weak constitutions. You might want to turn off the sound for this part.
Well, this is about midway in the show, too.
Yes.
So to kind of give some insight. They did a great job about building this up, but then they said, okay, you want the Punisher. Now you've got the Punisher. And you're seeing just this literal army go through this apartment complex.
Yeah.
And they're kicking in doors. They're attacking everybody in sight.
Every man, woman, and child.
Yep.
They do not care.
No, because all they know is Frank's in this building. That's all they know. And in this building, somebody pours gasoline underneath his door.
Yep.
They don't know he's in there.
Yep. They're just trying to flush him out.
They're just trying to flush him out. They light it on fire. He is lit on fire at this point, too.
My skull's on fire.
Yeah. Well played. Well played.
Thank you.
Greatest line from Ghost Rider movie, I'm just saying. And then you see him literally run through the door, shatter it, and then he goes Frank freaking Castle.
Shades of John Wick. Oh, baby.
Well, that's what this is what we know of the Punisher is just he is unstoppable, and he is just literally killing everybody in sight.
Shades of the first Kingsman. Only thing missing was some Freebird.
Oh, I know. But we'll get to the music in a second, my friend. We will. Because you just see Frank is just annihilating all the army. No innocents are getting harmed.
No,
but he is wasting.
Let's say he holds his trigger finger. You see it at the one point where like he's on a balcony or overlooking something and sees one of the residents getting attacked. Does not fire because he does not have a clear shot.
No, but he is now working his way, fighting on the roofs.
Yep,
has to do a fall through, which I think this is the only time he was kind of comical about it.
Yeah,
because he knew he goes, shit, and then he has to jump through and like he's going through the scaffolding.
Yep,
and you just see him just like I say, I can't do enough justice about this fight choreography. Everything was on point about this. This is Punisher 101.
Oh yeah,
you gotta say even when he's running out of bullets, he has to be resourceful, and I say the deaths are as brutal as they need to be.
Yeah.
Because it's Frank Castle. Like I think if he was just knocking people out, it just would not be the same. No, but he winds up wasting everybody away until he gets finally on the ground. And most of that army is gone, but unfortunately, you see the streets are the streets.
Yep, they're about the same as they've been.
And Frank has to make a choice because he knows the bodega where Dre and his wife Debbie and Charlie are working. is getting attacked. So I mean, this is where he's going all the time. So
so it's between that, but then he also sees Ma Nucci right there, and I think she's panicking a little bit because I don't think she expected him to survive this.
Oh no, completely not.
So she's getting loaded from her wheelchair into the car, getting ready to leave. But then, like you said, he hears the commotion coming from the bodega, and he has to choose.
Yeah.
Does he save the family he knows, or does he go after the last remnant of the Nucci family? And well, he chooses the bodega.
No, he goes there. As soon as he goes inside, the sounds of "I Will Be Heard" by Hatebreed kick in. I lose my damn mind.
That was a great song choice.
Yeah, I tell you what, I was getting amped up for that like nobody's business, and I am not even apologizing for it. I know, shout out to JVD. I know he was right there with me because we were losing our minds because Frank is going there, and he is going to town on all the gang that is in there trying to attack the family.
Dude destroys one guy with a pen or a pencil.
Oh yeah, well I mean
that was nuts.
I mean the thing about Frank is he's very resourceful.
Oh yeah,
and you have to think in this context too. He's not Batman.
No.
He doesn't have a utility belt.
He doesn't have an unlimited funds.
Right. He is literally using the guns he steals from criminals.
Yep.
So it's not like back in the early days of his character, where he has Micro hooking him up with stuff left and right, and they have the battle van.
Right.
This is a different style that they are playing into, but it works.
Yeah.
But this is just Frank as raw as he can be. And literally, like you alluded to, he stabs the one guy on top of the counter with the pen.
Repeatedly.
Well, that's the only guy that got the jump on him.
Yes.
So, like I say, he's just wasting everybody in there. It's very reminiscent, I would say, to the Bullseye Diner scene.
Yes.
Of this past Daredevil Born Again.
Yes.
But it works nevertheless. So
one dude takes a glass coffee pot to the face. Oh Lord.
So it results in Charlie, the daughter, gives Frank a paper rose she made.
I would say all the meanwhile, the family is still in here while the fighting is going on. And while the fighting and the music are playing in the background, you occasionally will hear the mother, Debbie, tell the daughter, close your eyes, don't open them, don't open them, don't open them.
Yeah. But like I say, there's nowhere else to run. Like I said, the whole city's going crazy.
Yeah.
So seeing this play out, huge. And then he winds up going and lead into the final act because he goes back to the grave of his daughter, Lisa, and he has like a very quick speech with her and literally says he still has work to do. So he leaves the rose there.
Yep.
And then you see him come back to the city, and he's back to being Frank, cleaned up.
He's got the vest.
He's got the vest.
He's got the guns.
And then he winds up seeing the thugs that are running around. More importantly, the one that stole the Marine's hat.
Yep.
And he pins the guy against the wall and says, "I want your hat back." And the guy the thug is now crapping his pants. And I love how the Marine said, "That's not the only thing he took." And then they go reference back about the dog being killed, and Frank does what he does best. And a new day has dawned in this neighborhood of New York. End show. Mic drop.
Yeah.
So there was a lot to really dive into about this. And like I said, we couldn't really go over every single kill because we'd just be a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
Because that's how intense the fighting was. But
yeah.
This was full circle Frank Castle. This is about as damn perfect as you get with it.
Yeah. No, it really was.
I mean, you were alluding to, though, there was one thing if you wanted me to catch on.
Yeah, so my one nitpick with the thing, and it's not even anything that took place, on screen, something somebody did or what have you. It's on the technical side of things. Whoever did the sound mixing for this episode.
Yes, I will give you. Okay.
Holy smokes. Because now, mind you, it's not a brand new TV, but it's not old. It's a recent television. That there were some portions during this episode I had to crank the volume to almost 50 to hear.
Yeah.
And I had to, and that still wasn't enough. So I had to turn subtitles on. So, but it wasn't for the whole thing. Like the action sequences, I wasn't blowing my speakers out on my television. So it's not like where I got to crank the volume up, action sequence, I got to bump it back down. No, like I had to keep it cranked the whole time. Whoever did the sound mixing for this, you need to go back and look at what you did because you could have done a better job.
I agree with you. No, now that you bring it up, because when the rock music was kicking in, that was loud.
Oh, yeah.
As it should be. But when they were mixing in other music, you heard the drops, and it got to be tough, and especially too like in the flashback sequences.
Yes,
that was a little tough to hear the dialogue.
Yeah,
I will give you that. The only other thing I would really complain about with this, to a degree,
okay.
One, I thought we should have had that final moment against Manucci, because now that door is left open. Now,
sure.
if they want to run it back, they can. Albeit though, I will laugh my ass off if they follow the comics.
Okay.
I will, because do you know what happens to Manucci?
No.
Do you want to know?
Sure.
Because we are in spoiler talk.
Yeah, sure.
So, obviously, the events of Welcome Back, Frank. Frank winds up leaving her for dead to be eaten alive by polar bears. She somehow survives, and she has her arms and legs eaten off.
Oh, my Lord.
But she's still alive.
You know what? I did see that photo, but I didn't know the context.
Yep.
Okay.
Until they have another confrontation, and she winds up like flying out of her wheelchair, because even in this wheelchair too, like I said, Judith Light did an amazing performance in this. Even with the defiant rolling back to the limo or the motorized drive off, I should say.
Yeah.
And she's holding up the middle finger defiantly to Frank.
Yep.
In the comic, like she winds up just wanting to go after Frank so badly because the house is on fire.
Sure.
She winds up like kind of launching herself out of her wheelchair and trying to gnaw at Frank, and then Frank winds up punting her back in the fire to watch her burn.
Right.
So I was waiting to see just a confrontation. Not saying they were going to do that like frame by frame.
Yeah.
But I was waiting to see that kind of closure, because now, unless you're going to run it back, which I'm okay with if they want to run it back.
Sure.
Now she's out there. What are we going to do then?
See, I agree with you in that aspect, but I also think it leaves the door open, which is a good thing, because what's the one big complaint we've had with the MCU for how many years has the MCU been going right now? You get every villain for this franchise, you know, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What do? They kill off their villains. Get a good villain, get a good portrayal, kill them off. So would a confrontation have been nice? Yeah, but does it leave the door open for something down the road, and you can revisit, you know, this confrontation? Yeah. So I agree, but I also don't hate it.
See, here's the thing. I agree with the statement, but it's Frank Castle. Frank Castle kills everybody.
Yeah.
Like, had this opened the door for Barracuda, and I know if you read certain Punisher stories, you know who I'm referring to. Okay, then we're in some business. But it's tough when it's Frank, because it's not like he fights super villains. I mean, literally the closest he faces, and by all means, hashtag ODPH pod this. We got Bullseye,
right?
Jigsaw, the Kingpin.
Yeah.
But we're not talking super villains. I mean, he does not really do that. I mean, the only one that comes to mind, but granted, it was early 90s. It's a wild time in comics. Acts of Vengeance, when he fought Doom. That's a real story.
Yeah.
But it is tough in that circumstance. However, though, there are ways to make recurring villains for Frank. Like I say, Wilson is a great one because he has resources for days, but you also, like I say, the fact that they did Bullseye, and if they actually did the comics and the Adamantium Skeleton, then that's a whole different ball of wax too. So in that circumstance, but I thought this one should have had closure, unless you're going to run it back. But if you are, you have to go full Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon. Like, you cannot half-ass it. I'm sorry. Granted, I don't know if you do the polar bears and all that, but you need to do something. I'm just going to put it out there. But either way, though, we got what we wanted with the show. And I really think that the word of mouth that this is spreading has been very positive for the most part.
Yeah, I would say so.
I have not seen too many bad reviews.
No.
I think as long as that continues, I think Marvel will be willing to give a shot to this. And they should. I think they should dive into the plethora of characters they have. And if you really want to run something back and see how it goes, this is the perfect format to do it. You can do characters on 1 hour episodes. It's not going to end the world.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need everybody to have a show, but it is great to see characters get featured. And if you need a name for it, call it Marvel Comics Presents. It's what they used to do in the 90s era. It used to be a weekly comic. I mean, do short stories. It was three characters in the book, and you go from there. And then,
for fan reception and critic reception, right now on Rotten Tomatoes with 49 reviews, it has a critic score of 82%.
Okay.
And with 500 plus ratings, it has a fan rating of 90%.
No, that's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, I think it was the only times I heard people make a comment negatively is just how brutal it was. But at the same time, the comment was, I knew it was going to be brutal. I didn't realize how brutal.
It's the Punisher.
Well, that's the whole thing.
They gave you a warning at the outset.
Oh, yeah. You know what you're walking into anytime Frank Castle's on screen.
You got a viewer discretion thing. You ought to know what you're walking into.
Yeah, but overall, though, a lot to be excited about for maybe the future of the Punisher because now with the door open, we know we're going to see him in Brand New Day.
Yep.
That is a lock.
Past that, don't know.
Right, but they've got some room to go and grow with. We know there's another season of Daredevil coming.
That's true.
Maybe he comes back for that. I don't know. But I think we just have to kind of be patient and see. I think that maybe I'm just going to speculate if I can. San Diego Comic-Con. We do know Hall H is going to be in full effect. So I would not doubt that.
Hall H is just going to be a 3-hour chair reveal.
Oh, jeez. Can you only imagine?
People waited 48 hours to get into Hall H and you just watch a 3-hour chair reveal.
I will say this, though. I think this year's Hall H Marvel Studios one is going to, not that it hasn't always been must-watch.
Yeah.
But I think with Brand New Day coming out around that time.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
We do know, which we'll talk about in one-shots, Vision Quest now has an official date.
Ooh.
I think this is going to be the benchmark of where we're going in this new direction of the MCU. Because the only thing we know for certain, Vision Quest is coming out this year. We do know Wonder Man 2 is greenlit for a series.
Yep.
And then we do know Born Again is coming next year for Daredevil. And, of course, Doomsday is coming at some point. I know it's technically supposed to be this year, but until I get my ticket, it's been pushed back so many times, I'm not even putting any faith in it.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to wait and see. But I think for right now, though, you got a lot to be excited about if you're a Frank Castle fan. Pat, final thoughts on the episode?
Fantastic, little series, little movie, whatever you want to call this thing. Absolutely tremendous. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. You will do yourself a favor. And like I said, I would like to see more of this in the future. If you got a character that, maybe wouldn't necessarily have enough to fill out a full however many episode season, or even, do a cameo with, do something like this. If you want to bring somebody back and just keep them in the public's consciousness, do this. It's a tremendous way to do it, and I really liked it.
If you want to really see an intimate look inside the mind of a character, and especially one as complex as Frank Castle, this is your episode. I thought John Bernthal did an amazing job in this portrayal. Really opened some eyes into the very, very complicated mindset of Frank Castle.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a fair balance of drama and action. I thought where they went with this was absolutely wild. I will agree with Pat, though. The sound mixing is the only thing I really have an issue with in this. So if you can tolerate that, which it doesn't happen that often, but it is noticeable when it does.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. And like I say, once you hear I Will Be Heard, you'll probably be jumping out of your seat because it'd be like, you just hear Frank Castle's roar as he's ready to go do what he does best, and then punch the bad guys. So that said, hit us up on the hashtag ODPH pod. What is your thoughts about The Punisher, One Last Kill, currently airing on Disney+. We're going to get a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder, and you better listen to the ODPH podcast, or I'm coming for you, and Batman is coming for you.
Coming back for the final segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. Pad, what you got?
Got a couple things to talk about. We got to start with that local minute and looking at the Binghamton Black Bears schedule from the past week, because remember, they were in the Federal Prospects Hockey League's championship for the third year in a row, having won it the 2 prior years. So they were going for the three-peat. Went into this past weekend with a 1-1 series, even lead, tie, whatever you want to call it. Game on Friday, they won handedly. By the final score of 8-1. I happened to be out to dinner and was out at a local eatery, and was out. The game was on one of the TVs there, and every time I looked up, it felt like they were scoring. It was absolutely insane. So they came back Saturday, where they win, and you win the whole thing, and they won by the final score of 4-2. So that means for the third year in a row,
three times,
three-peat, baby. We got a dynasty in Binghamton. That is, the Binghamton Black Bears are your 2025-2026 Federal Prospects Hockey League champions. Even got a parade, full-blown parade here in downtown Binghamton back on Monday this week.
Amazing moment to see. Like I say, for us here in the 607, it's a great time. It's always been a hockey town.
Big hockey town.
Even though we don't have a AAA affiliate, to see what the Black Bears have done has been really phenomenal. And like I say, it's a very affordable night out if you can get to the games.
Have not been to a game yet. I feel like because, hey, I haven't gone. They've won a championship each year. So, I don't know. Maybe I got to keep this whole thing going.
Yep.
We'll see. Then switching over to some Rumble Ponies action. Hey, we got to give some congratulations, and that is to A.J. Ewing.
Yes.
Who is the Mets' number 2 overall prospect. Made his major league debut. Started the season down here in Binghamton. Made his big league debut yesterday as we record for the big league Mets out in Detroit. Actually, they were playing the Detroit Tigers where they won that game by the final score of 10-2. So, hey, kudos to them. But kudos to A.J. Ewing. Had a really good debut, I would say, all things considered. Went 1 for 2, scored 2 runs, got a triple, got 2 runs batted in, walked 3 times, and stole a base. So all things considered, you know what? You're batting 500. You got an on-base percentage of 800, slugging of 1,500, and an OPS of 2,300. That ain't a bad debut.
That is definitely not.
So, hey, kudos to him. Good luck and best wishes to you in the major leagues. Speaking of the Rumble Ponies, looking at their schedule from this past week, well, been a rough one. They had their series against Hartford this past week where they lost the game on Tuesday by the final score of 10-2. Won on Wednesday 4-3. Lost on Thursday by the final score of 5-3. Friday by the final score of 4-2. Game on Saturday got postponed like stupid early. Like I'm talking like 9 a.m.
Yeah, it was something wild.
That got pushed back to Sunday for a doubleheader. They lost both of those games. First one 5-2, second one 5-0. So they turned their attention this week to a little bit of a Subway Series action, and that is against the Somerset Patriots. Their game on Tuesday, they lost by the final score of 3-0. Came back today though and won by the final score of 5-4. So they got 4 games remaining in the series. Tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday are at 6:35 p.m. Eastern. Saturday is at 6:05 p.m. Eastern, and then Sunday is at 1:05 p.m. Eastern. They're back on the road again the week after. They do not return for a home series until the end of the month, where they start a series against the Portland Sea Dogs on Tuesday, May 26th. So for tickets, information, all that good stuff, bingrp.com. The other thing I do know from this is I believe the game on Saturday was supposed to be the championship replica ring giveaway. That's been pushed back to another date. So if you were looking to pick that up and get that here in the 607 area, because I got to admit, those replica rings look really nice.
They do. They look very nice.
That has been moved to a later date. So check their website for more information. Then we're going to talk a little bit of pro wrestling because there was a match. There was a couple matches. There was a pay-per-view this past weekend down in sunny Tampa, Florida at the Benchmark International Arena for WWE, and that was Backlash. So the matches on this took place as ordered. Card opened up with Braun Breaker defeating Seth Rollins via pinfall in 21 minutes and 26 seconds.
Well, this one, it was a little more of a messy match.
Yeah.
I would say a little more. Braun's timing was off in certain aspects. But
first match back made sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the only thing you kind of have to put it up to. But it was solid for what it needed to. Right call on who won.
Yeah.
So not mad about that.
Feud does not seem to be over based off of Monday night.
Yeah, kind of surprising about that. I was kind of thinking if they were going to hit the reset button on the Vision, this was going to be the time to do it, but they want to keep it going. And maybe kind of work out some of the, I don't want to say ring rust because I think that's too strong, but I think some of the timing issues to run it back and give a proper send-off to it, I'm fine with that.
Next up, you had a singles match for the United States Championship with Trick Williams with Lil Yachty in his corner, defeating Sami Zayn via pinfall in 12 minutes and 56 seconds.
Probably the most predictable match of the night. I think for this new Sami Zayn heel turn that he's doing, I refer to it as when Bret Hart did against Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was what it was, but Trick is so over right now. And if you haven't really realized, like, he's probably going to be world champion next year.
Probably.
I would say
or at least in contention.
Definitely in contention, if not. So, but it was what it was.
Can this whole heel turn with Sammy lead to another run as conspiracy theory, Sammy? Because I would love to see that.
You know, I was thinking I would not mind seeing that if depending on when Kevin Owens is coming back. Which, granted, I don't know the latest. I'm going to be very transparent about that. My fear, though, is he's somehow going to get connected to that bloodline storyline, and I just don't want it.
You know what? That's possible, and we can get into that here at the end of the recap.
Yeah.
Next up was a tag team match where The Miz and Kit Wilson were going up against Danhausen, who needed a tag team partner in his corner. He was reaching out to wrestlers far and wide: Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, AJ Styles, reaching out very far and wide. A lot of speculation who it would be. And you know what? We were both wrong. Mm-hmm. But you know what? In the end, this ended up working really well.
Worked completely well.
Because he brought out a cloning machine. The cloning machine, he tried to clone himself, didn't work quite well, and out came Minihausen. And winning via pinfall in 11 minutes and 38 seconds was Danhausen and El Torito. Minihausen. By pinfall. Sorry. I'm calling it now. That was El Torito.
Oh, yeah. No, it was already leaked out by the dirt sheets. So we'll put the allegedly there just for reasons. But
okay.
No, this was fun. It was the thing with Danhausen is so over.
Oh, my God, yeah.
That he can get away with doing a match like this. I know there were some people that didn't care for it and whatever.
Those people hate comedy.
Listen, this was a fun match, and you had to hear the crowd, and the crowd was into it, and that's all that matters. So Danhausen's doing just fine. Everybody's doing just fine. This was perfectly fine, because if you did put a CM Punk in there, if you did put an Oba Femi, even though I would love to see Oba.
Oh my God, Oba doing or Danhausen doing the Oba Femi strut.
That would have been so viral, it would not be even funny. But like I said, the match was what it was. Yeah. It was a good break in between all the action, can't be mad about that.
Next up was Io Sky defeating Asuka via pinfall in 18 minutes and 7 seconds and becoming the most talked about match of the weekend for any promotion in the world.
Yeah, this one definitely caught a lot of attention. I know Asuka after the match.
Very unheel-like reaction.
Yeah, very cryptic posts concerning her future. Mm-hmm. And they did follow up about this on Monday Night Raw. Yep. That she is leaving. WWE knows about this. She's going back to Japan. I guess for the most.
There's a lot of rumors.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's one rumor saying she's retiring. There's another one saying she's semi-retired. There's another one saying she's taking a pre-planned time off, and that WWE knew about this the whole time. I think at this point, nobody knows what the hell it is, but the speculation, I think, got fueled partly because, as you said, there was cryptic social media posts. I know there was one on her Instagram, which was a photo, including the song by Frank Sinatra, My Way, which, if you're not familiar, has the one line in it, and now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain, which people were taking as a, hey, she's retiring, coupled together with after the match was over. A lot of folks in WWE backstage, were posting thoughtful posts and photos of thanking her and wishing her well and everything else. But time will tell. We will see if this is it. You know what? It's been a fantastic run for her. Definitely Hall of Fame worthy, I would say. And if it's not, hey, we'll see you later.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we just kind of have to sit back and think, like I say, the allegedlys were, like you were saying, about, she's going back home to Japan.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff going on, that she wants to get a break from. I mean, that's the overall thing. So we'll just say, with all the allegedlys, she's taking time off, and now we're seeing that Io's going to go out on her own and see where it goes on, because obviously Kairi Sane not being with the company anymore, that's another
loud chants during that match.
Yeah.
We want Kairi.
Right. But like I say, you believe all the rumors too. Allegedly, Kairi wanted to leave. She didn't want to stay around for a bit. So you kind of have to take all this with perspective. But the only thing we know is Asuka is gone. She did a perfect write-off on Monday Night Raw.
She said, what did she, I'm paraphrasing, but she said something to the effect of, I wanted somebody to step up and take my place, and I found it. Yeah. Or something to that effect. It was a good send-off.
It was a very, very good send-off. So it complemented a great match, too.
Yeah, fantastic.
So this is probably the best match of the night.
I would agree with that, yeah. And then you had your main event of the evening in a singles match for the World Heavyweight Championship with Roman Reigns defeating Jacob Fatu via pinfall in 17 minutes and 50 seconds.
Okay, so this one was everything I was expecting. However, Roman taking off the turnbuckle.
Yep.
To cheat to win?
For the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought was kind of telling.
Yeah.
Now, granted, if he's a heel or a face, I think it's not even at that point anymore.
He is what the company needs him to be.
Right. But now where does that put Jacob? Because now Jacob has some argument for his case and what he wants to do. And
Yep.
And I think it just kind of makes the storyline a little more messier.
Yeah, and you've now got the whole thing of, well, Roman doesn't know how, and they even said this in the lead up to the match and during the match that I think it was Roman took 4 Tongan death grips from Jacob, and they said repeatedly through the match Roman doesn't have a counter for this.
Yeah.
Well, Roman ate 4 Tongan death grips and still won.
Yeah. Like I say, not the greatest ending of all.
Match was great. The ending, you didn't stick the landing.
Yeah, so
which led to Monday night.
There
was supposed to be an acknowledgement ceremony with Jacob acknowledging Roman Reigns because of what happened after the match, which was Jacob losing his ever-loving mind and beating the holy hell out of Roman Reigns after the match was over, tossing referees. They said at one point the referee for the match on Saturday, was still out recovering from injuries. He tossed out officials. I think, by God, Jamie Noble even got tossed out of the ring at one point. Adam Pearce got tossed out of the ring. Adam Pearce was ready to fire Jacob Fatu on the spot. And Roman's like, no, let him get here. Let him acknowledge me, and then we can figure out what to do with him.
Yeah.
Jacob finally showed up. It went about the way I think everyone expected it to.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I know they're extending it out for a little bit, so we'll have to see how this all shapes up. But.
Yeah. Do you think, with the way this is playing out, that we will see a bloodline reunion? And obviously we mentioned Sammy earlier, but do you think with the way this is going down and kind of seeing as the main foe for Solo Sikoa's crew is now gone in the Wyatt Six, do you think you now see Roman go to Solo? And this will play out, I think, if this ends up happening over the next couple of weeks. Do you see Roman try to reckon with Solo and go, hey, need your help?
See, here's the thing, and we've talked about this at length on 607 TWS, Thursday nights, 8 p.m. East on Fanlight on YouTube. The problem I have with this is you're trying to run back magic.
Sure.
So could I see it? Yeah, because I honestly think for whatever is going on with the booking,
right,
and whether it's TKO influencing Triple H, whatever the case is there. I mean, I could see it. Unfortunately, I don't want to see it. Because why?
Right,
I mean, at this stage. But what I think would be smarter to do,
right,
is if you're going to have Jacob run it back against Roman,
which I think is their plan,
which is fine. Have the Usos join Jacob.
Okay.
Then you can have Sammy go help Roman out for reasons. Solo could go back there at that point too. Then you could have he brings Tala with him.
Sure.
Because I think they're getting ready to just put Tama Tonga on his own, which is fine.
Sure.
So you keep him away from that.
Sure.
Right there you got 4. And then Royce Keys can come in with Jacob's team, and then you can set up war games or whatever you want to do there. If you want to do faction warfare, because of reasons, you can.
Yeah.
It does not excite me, but
I mean, they're clearly, I feel like, setting up for something just because you had Roman beat Jacob in the pay-per-view. Then Jacob beat the holy hell out of him. Usos were nowhere to be found that whole time, during the pay-per-view, which, by the way, I forgot to mention something with the pay-per-view, but I'll get to that in a minute. You get to Monday night, and, you got the confrontation between, Jacob lays out the Usos, who, let's not forget, were just tag team champions, like, up until 2 weeks ago, and then he lays out Roman. And then after we get the whole Triple H fake out thing with the credits, goes back and barrels through the 3 of them into the timekeepers area. So it just feels like, okay, Roman can't deal with him on his own. He's got the Usos in his corner, and even they can't handle him. So it feels like they need to keep upping the score. We'll see what happens. But no, the one thing we forgot to mention is the John Cena Classic got announced.
That is true. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, so John Cena was announced as appearing at Backlash and had a special announcement, and everyone went, oh, shit, he's going to talk Club WWE again. No, he announced the John Cena Classic, which is a tournament or pay-per-view. It wasn't quite clear on...
I think it's going to be a tournament, like a one night. Maybe they'll do it one night, or they're going to stretch it out over... probably the summertime, I would imagine.
Probably. Taking place at some point. We don't know when, but it is going to be between established main roster superstars up against up-and-coming talent on NXT, where, you might have the match end where, main roster guy beats NXT guy. But what ultimately matters at the end of the day is going to be the fan vote, and the fan vote is going to help pick a winner for the tournament, and said tournament winner will end up being a champion with a new belt being designed for this tournament. To which I say, if this belt is not a spinner belt, what are we even doing here?
Well played.
Thank you.
I think it would be something fun, but granted, I'm going to treat it more like the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Same.
I think
they'll mention it for like 3 weeks and then never again.
You'll have a new belt, but where are you going to defend it?
Yep.
Are you going to be going on Evolve? Are you going to be going on NXT?
It's like Braun Strowman in his greatest Royal Rumble title.
Yeah,
man's still undefeated.
Yeah, I just think in that kind of perspective, it makes it slightly difficult, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Then moving on from wrestling, I'm going to talk a little bit of basketball because, hey, the NBA playoffs are in full swing.
Yes, indeed.
Still waiting on the NBA finals. Those don't start until June 3rd, so we got a little bit of time before that goes on. But, hey, at least one half of each side of the conference finals are set because on the Western Conference side, well, the Oklahoma City Thunder swept the Los Angeles Lakers 4-0 to make their way back to the Western Conference Finals. On the other side of things, well, they got a little bit of time to wait because right now with game, what would this be, 6, taking place on Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Prime Video. Side note, I really hate how the NBA is putting a lot of these games on like subscription services. Yes, I have them, so like that's not an issue for me, but I just miss those days where like you could turn on a TV and be like, oh, hey, that game's on. Let's throw that on for, a little bit. But you got the Minnesota Timberwolves and San Antonio Spurs going up against each other. San Antonio leads that series currently 3-2. On the Eastern Conference side of things, well, you got the number 1 seeded Detroit Pistons going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, where that series is currently tied 2 games apiece. Game 5 is tonight as we record, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. And they will take on the number 3 seeded New York Knickerbockers, who, let's face it, Peter Rosenberg, I hope you're working on your courtside seats in between Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner, because ever since Danhausen lifted the curse on those New York Knicks, they have been on a run I have not seen in quite some time, blowing the literal barn doors off of the Philadelphia 76ers to the point where their fans are having to be kept separate from the New York Knicks fans because despite Joel Embiid's best efforts, the New York Knicks fans took over Philadelphia again.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, and this is with them doing that whole restrictive value. You can only buy it if you're in this area type of thing that teams have been doing with tickets these days. But the New York Knicks swept, SWEPT, swept the 76ers are in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, you know where I'm going with this.
Go New York, go.
I would say the coaching staff, Mike Brown, has come up with a great game plan, run the offense through Karl Anthony Towns.
Tremendous coach.
And, yeah, I mean, the coaching job he's done with this, he got him a bench. They're actually looking rested. They're playing very sharp.
They got a lot of time between now and when the Eastern Conference Finals
Which
start.
I know some people were complaining about, but listen, OG Anunoby is hurt.
Yeah.
Give him enough time to rest. That's perfectly fine with me. I hope the series with Detroit and Cleveland goes 7. Albeit, though, Cleveland know how to run a 2-minute drill when you're up by 20. So if you watched Game 4, they nearly choked that away. They had to put the starters back in to finish.
Yeah.
That is not a good sign.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, New York is playing lights out right now. I'm hoping they carry this momentum to the finals with the Eastern Conference at least. Because if it turns out to be Detroit, they're going to need to play like they've been playing. Lights out, put Danhausen right at center court. I don't care.
Right between Chalamet and Kylie Jenner.
Listen, do it. And Knicks fans, go out and buy a James Dolan CD to kind of motivate them. Seriously, go support him on Spotify. This guarantees us a championship. This is close as we're going to get. New York City will riot. I guarantee you this.
There ain't enough NYPD officers on the payroll if the Knicks win a championship.
No, but it'll be the greatest sports spectacle you've ever seen.
You and I both know someone who is a diehard Knicks fan that like Knicks win a championship. You yourself will be excited and everything else. We will still see you.
Yes.
You will still be around. This mutual friend we have that is a New York Knicks fan, we might not see him for like 6 weeks.
I would say this: if you ventured down to New York City, if they win,
or
when they win, I should say rather.
Yeah.
Listen, just make sure your affairs are tied up in order because it's going to be a long time getting back out. Because,
National Guard might have to get called.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
When Bane locks off Gotham City. It might have to happen. I'm just putting it out there, but it'd be the perfect reason to. The Knicks are playing lights out on the Western Conference side of things. OKC is doing OKC things.
Yeah.
If they're going to call SGA, though, for kind of leaning in with the shoulder to pull up and draw those fouls, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But as far as the opponents there, I don't doubt San Antonio winning that series. I think that Wemby is now clicking.
Just watch out for his elbows.
Yeah, that's the only Well, you know what? I don't blame him, though, for what happened. I don't blame him at all.
No, I don't know.
And I think they'll fire up that team, too.
I just thought it was hilarious, his reaction that, like, there was initially flagrant 1, then they went back and reviewed it, upgraded to a flagrant 2, and the cameras went, wait, what happens?
Yeah.
I'm ejected now?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, though, with that series moving forward, though. But with Detroit-Cleveland playing, whoever wins Game 5 is winning that series. Mark the tape right now.
Agreed.
I don't see anybody bouncing back 2 games after that. It'll be fun basketball, though, and then obviously with the Knicks kicking the series, we'll have a lot to talk about here on the ODPH.
Mm-hmm.
Last bit of sports news, though, I have UFC went down this weekend, UFC 328.
Hey.
And one of the most hyped-up matchups we had in recent memory, Sean Strickland and Khamzat Chimaev fighting for the middleweight title.
Mm-hmm.
And this one went a lot of different directions than I thought it was going to go, but it turned out to be judges' split decision with Sean Strickland walking away with the title.
Mm-hmm.
So this fight, Pat, if you did not get a chance to see it, was very, very unlike what we thought we were going to have. Chimaev got the takedown early in the first round, and then Strickland bounced back. It looked like the weight cut for Chimaev was too much, but Chimaev pulled it off in the third round. They were bouncing back, but they decided to strike. He didn't go for a takedown, so I don't know. There's a lot of speculation about what was going on there.
Right.
On my scorecard, I had Chimaev winning 3 rounds to 2. So the question is now, where does everybody go from here?
Right.
Chimaev is demanding a rematch. I know he wants one really, really bad. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's talking about moving up to light heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be the place he goes. Albeit, though, I think he's going to be a small light heavyweight, but it could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, we'll have to kind of keep an eye out for that. And then very quickly this weekend is Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of hype going on with that. I think it will be a very interesting fight. I think Ronda wins outright, though. I think Gina has been away from the fight game too long.
A lot longer than Ronda has.
Right, but Gina's a pioneer. If you haven't, don't sleep on that fact. She's been she was literally when she opened the door, Ronda walked in right behind her.
Mm-hmm.
And ran as far as women's MMA went and elevated to a status that it had never been at before.
Yeah.
So Gina doing what Gina does best. Like I say, she's all a striker. I've never seen her fight off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Ronda's smart, she doesn't box with her and takes her down early, and I think this ends in the first round.
That would be smart.
But listen, it'll be an interesting fight. That'll be on Netflix this weekend, so definitely go check your local listings for that. And then we got some quick entertainment news, and then we got to talk comic picks.
Yeah, so we did get a release date for the long-awaited Vision Quest, and that is going to be dropping on Disney Plus October 14th, of course, starring Paul Bettany returning to his role as Vision.
Yeah, so this one has been a long rumored to be taking place. When we're going to see it, it's going to be right around New York Comic Con time, so that'll be fun to check out.
Yeah, and then we got a little bit of updated news on when The Pit Season 3 is going to be occurring, and that Season 3 is going, and this is according to Noah Wiley, who is one of the producers on the show. He and Catherine Lanassa made an appearance at the Warner Brothers Upfronts, where they revealed that, Noah revealed, quote, "We're about to start production on Season 3. It's set in early November, just before the holidays, ushering in a whole new set of emergencies and confrontations and complications. And well," close quote, while he didn't say what specific holiday it was, I'm willing to bet it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because you just watch the show, you know some of the stuff that comes through that hospital. It makes absolute sense, for them to do it then.
Yeah. And for more entertainment stuff, fanlightzone.com is where you got to go because, unfortunately, Mother Nature has now decided to mess with us. We knew the streak was here and it was gone. But unfortunately, we have to go bow out. But if you want to find out all those comic picks, you want to find out more of what's going on in the land of comics, pops, culture, you got to go to fanlightzone.com. Hit us up on the social media accounts. You can find them all at odphpodcast.com because that's it for us this week. So for the one only Padawan J,
fuck the Astros.
I'm your host, Ken M. Thank you as always for listening. We'll catch you next time.
It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know. 'Cause anyone who's worth a damn be worth way more than a picture could ever show. You could find the right light, find the right angle, and never find your soul. like a losing battle, and this plot is full of holes. This modern way of finding love just makes me feel so alone. And I can't be the only one sick of staring at my phone. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Don't know that I believe in the old time fable. Everyone has just one true love. All I know is you're across this table, and you're all I'm thinking of. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Ooh, ooh, talk to me. Ooh, talk to me. It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know.